What's up, my doom scrolling friends? It's now time to start with the more strategic stuff. So we're gonna talk about a method to grind netherstones. But as amazing as this all sounds, I highly recommend that you watch the entire video before taking any decisions, since it comes with some hard-hitting downsides. And of course, you should first ascend your pariah specialization, as those plus 25% are really impactful long term. So it's practically working in all realms, but because you can easily autopilot into finishing your request, in a standard realm, one with a nether boss is actually the best. Now you can of course reroll your item bonuses. This value is determined by those visible modifiers, but also some invisible ones. And because it has actually invis ones, you should better not wait or hope for a value over 500%, because it's possible that your invis mods won't allow it. If you are okay with a value at around 370 or 400, it's fine, but usually I aim for something at around 450 or higher. And sometimes I'm even re-rolling a 420% or so. That being said, I have easily re-rolled 2 million energy at once just to get over 400%. Sure, most of the time it takes less, but it can also take a lot more. Now let's talk about how to re-roll, like the tapping method. So you might think, just do it for a head, just tap, and whenever it shows a value over 400, use your Spider-Man like reflexes and just stop. But out of my own experience, that's not gonna happen. Tapping in the same rhythm is way too boring and it takes way too long to ever get to over 400%. So you will start daydreaming and fading away with your thoughts, even if you do it slowly, like in the second example. So what I do nowadays is I tap in a rhythmic way. So you have to keep the focus, even though it's still not a 100% safe method. Okay, now I'm gonna show you a random realm and how quickly you can find those stones. That being said, it is somewhat important to grind in realms that you have the highest favor for, at level 100 at best. So there goes the first one. Now the second one had a trait called Black Lotus on it, so I guess I'd be much more excited about it if this would be Magic the Gathering. Psych, that's the wrong game. and there goes the third one, and that's about it. And after clearing the realm, you don't finish the quest, but instead you just restart the game and it will continue with the same value for the item bonus. And even if you do die, you can close the game and continue the grind with the same value still. Now, as a very important side note, you should really test and think about the modifier Resurrect on Death twice, since of course you want to go for turn 0 strategies, but this modifier will let fights take over twice as long, and what seems like only a few seconds will be minutes, if not more, over a very long period of time. Again, you should better think twice before you go with the modifier or not. Now, over 95% of all Netherstones you'll find will be absolute trash, which leads to the idea of just crushing them. That being said, right now I don't know how the fusing method for stones on the new patch will play out, so you better keep it until that is clarified. Still, crushing them can get you a ton of PT in a short amount of time. So that's a way to get a value even out of the terrible stones you will find. In addition, the best rarity value has already been discussed on Discord, and it might be at around 250 up to 350, as stones can have a trait or one very high value of a certain status line, or a combo of those two, while the low ones are too weak, and a higher rarity stone oftentimes has some lines that renders it as pretty hard to use, if not impossible. So it can take quite a lot of thinking and recalibrating to use stones with a rarity over, let's say, 500 or even 800, despite them having triple traits. As a side note, there is a limit of stones a realm can spawn, which results in being able to find duplicates, but the chances are so astronomically low that you absolutely should not gamble or hope for it. Now we come to the second really hard-hitting downside. You won't make any progress, no more realm depth, no more quests, no more projects, and especially no more anointments. So before the recent beta patch, there was a Netherstone week on the calendar, so your time to grind for stones was actually limited, but the newest patch took out these mechanics, so you have all the calendar bonuses always at once. So you can pretty much always grind for stones in the most effective way, together with the Ascended Pariah spec, of course. As amazing as this all sounds, newer players should not go for it, as unlocking anointments is much more impactful than some randomized Netherstones. As I said, way over 95% of those stones are absolute trash. So after all, it might be much more about upgrading the relics than it is about the stones itself. And I have to point out that I have not tested the beta patch right now, where you can fuse stones, so you might again want to keep your low level ones, as crushing those might not even be a good idea. So I'd say, as long as you have not achieved a realm depth of over 900, it's still better to just unlock anointments because of the trade-off. Grinding for stones give you an extremely low chance of finding meaningful ones, one with a trait or some high value attack or intelligence ones, but unlocking new anointments can be really useful not only for the build you are currently using, but for pretty much all the future builds. So all things considered, you better think twice before you start using this method. Alright, so that's about it. The next upload will be about a roguelite called Wizard of Legends, where I was attempting the pretty hard boss rush mode. It should already be uploaded when you are watching this. Anyway, feel free to drop a subscription as I'm currently working on getting partnered via YouTube. Thanks in advance and I'm out.